days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time. Welcome to the show. And this is going to be a fun one. I'm going to talk about the next man up mentality because it's a real thing, and the 49ers need to have that at the cornerback position now. Emmanuel Moseley, torn ACL. It's unfortunate. He's going to be out for the remainder of the year. The 49ers have to find a guy to take that spot. Which player is it going to be that's going to step up and take the mantle of the corner opposite of Charvarius Ward? Man, that grouping was so good. Emmanuel Moseley and Charvarius Ward were locking people down all year, and big reasons why this 49ers defense is the best in the NFL. Without Emmanuel Moseley, the 49ers do have options. John Lynch has done a very good job of getting options, but who's it going to be to fill that role? Kyle Shanahan has already said that he fully expects at some point for Jason Verrett to be the guy that does, but it's pretty soon. It's not right this second because Jason Verrett tore his ACL last year against Detroit. He hasn't been completely healthy. They weren't willing to let him be a part of this active roster coming out of training camp. They left him on the physically unable to perform list, the PUP list, and now he's finally had his practice window open. Was not active or activated for the game against the Panthers. Could he play against Atlanta? Potentially. Let's see what happens and how the 49ers decide to handle it. But I think they're going to slow play this thing. I think they want to work him in, ease him in. With some of the things that have happened with other players like Aaron Banks and Samson Ebukam dealing with the problems with the turf from Carolina and then playing on the turf in Atlanta, it could mean another week without Jason Verrett ready to go for the 49ers. Now, he only had one practice, so this time this week is going to be very important for Jason Verrett to continue to get better. So Verrett is not the option right now. He is the option in the future. If they can keep Jason Verrett healthy and he can get going, he can be that guy. He can step in and fill the void. You say a lot of times, next man up, it means you're taking a step back from the player in front of him. But when you say next man up and it's a healthy Jason Verrett, you're not taking a step back from Emmanuel Moseley. That's how good Jason Verrett is. So I think that's an exciting proposition, but that is the future. What does the cornerback room do now? Because they have to get through Atlanta. They may have to get through Kansas City before Jason Verrett is ready to start. Verrett will probably be eased in Kansas City. He may be eased in against the Los Angeles Rams. So he might not be ready to go until he faces his former team with the Chargers after the bye. So that's kind of what we're looking at timeline-wise for Jason Verrett. So what do we do in the meantime in San Francisco? What do the 49ers do at the cornerback position to get through these games and make sure that they can still put out a very winning football team, a defense that is still one of the top in the league? Now, of course, a lot of it's going to fall on D'Amico Ryans. Hey, man, you got to scheme this up. You've got to give safety help. You've got to take some of the pressure off that corner. Charvarius Ward is going to do that as well because Ward can handle himself all good and by himself. He doesn't need anyone's help. He can be out there on an island. He can handle things, which means you don't have to send safety help his way. You don't have to give him extra things. You can pay that attention over on the other side to your outside corner. But who are those options? And I think it starts with a player that Kyle Shanahan has talked about a lot was Emmanuel Lenoir. Lenoir, through 2 seasons, has got a lot of reps at cornerback and outside corner. And last year, at the beginning of the year, he was thrust into competition early. Did he struggle? Absolutely, as a rookie. But this is not the same Emmanuel Lenoir that we saw last year. Emmanuel Lenoir this year is a lot more confident. He's a lot better with his techniques. All on his game. He drives on the football a lot better. He's an extremely good tackler. So I think Emmanuel Lenoir is a very, very solid option for D'Amico Ryans and Kyle Shanahan to go. I think they feel comfortable with Demo. When they've had issues with, or had situations they've had to pull Emmanuel Moseley out for injury or whatever, rest, it has been Emmanuel Lenoir. Lenoir could probably be that next guy on the list. Now, they had mentioned Samuel Womack, which I found to be very interesting considering Aubrey Thomas started so many games for the 49ers last year. Samuel Womack was drafted this year out of Toledo and expected to play the nickel. He did play the nickel through the first 2 weeks. He beat out Darqueze Dennard in training camp, took the job, and went in there and started the first 2 weeks at nickel corner and did a pretty good job. Emmanuel Lenoir beat him out after that and has taken over the job since. But now with Lenore potentially going to the outside, Womack could be going inside. Or could he be playing outside? Kyle Shanahan said it could be Samuel Womack playing on the outside too. So you have Emmanuel Lenoir, you have Samuel Womack, two guys that have the ability, and Womack has got some time playing outside nickel corner. The first game that he didn't start, he came in at outside corner and he ended up getting the ball on the ground against the Denver Broncos. It was a fantastic play. He's a guy that makes plays. Everyone who knows in the preseason that watched saw Samuel Womack consistently make plays from his cornerback position. That's just what he is. He's a playmaker. So you could potentially have both of those guys on the field because if Lenore moves outside, Womack would play the nickel. But what other options do the 49ers have to play nickel? To play corner. I think you have to look at Aubrey Thomas. With the amount of starts, including playoff starts that Aubrey Thomas had last year, you would think he would have been the shoe-in to be the guy until Jason Verrett was ready. But he didn't have a good training camp. He really did struggle. And now he's, down on the depth chart. Aubrey Thomas doesn't seem to be that guy. We'll see if the 49ers ultimately decide to go there, but he's going to have to beat out potentially two guys in front of him in practice. I'm sure they'll give him an opportunity to go out there and prove it because he's done it before, but the 49ers had to give him a lot of help in those games. There was a lot of time he had to have safety help. He played off. He hasn't been a great tackler. He's been good, not great. He's going to have to get better in that area too. So Aubrey Thomas is another option for the 49ers at corner. Do they have any other options? Of course they have other options because they have Dante Johnson, number 27, chilling on the practice squad. They could always elevate Dante Johnson and use him in this game, especially with Jimmy Ward being hurt. Still questions about Tarvarius Moore. You could bring Dante Johnson up as a guy who can play a hybrid position. You have Kyle Pitts. You have these big guys over on the other side, like Drake London, that you're going to have to guard. Maybe use a Dante Johnson. Something to remember. He's on the roster, and you got to always remember the 49ers trust Dante Johnson is a part of their defense. They trust him a lot. And so counting on him in this situation wouldn't surprise me. We'll see what the 49ers do with Dante Johnson. But as you can see, they have a lot of options to be able to play in this game against the Atlanta Falcons and also to play in future games against Kansas City. And it's all about bridging the gap from Emmanuel Moseley to Jason Verrett. How long is that going to be? Well, we know the practice window is in the first week still. Wednesday to Wednesday was 1 week, so now it's going to be a second week for Jason Verrett. He doesn't have to be activated this week. He doesn't have to be put on the 53-man. They could wait another week. So they can push this thing out until they have to activate him before the Rams game. So that's the first time that Jason Verrett would have to be activated, and they might wait that long. We'll see. I think Kansas City being at home at Levi's on natural grass would be something very enticing for the 49ers to get him some reps. How many reps, though? A couple series. A couple series in the first half, a couple in the second half. I think they're going to have to ease him in. I think we are getting robbed of seeing Emmanuel Moseley, Jason Verrett, and Tarvarius Ward together. But if they can bridge this gap, if they can get one of these young guys or the seasoned veteran of Dante Johnson to be able to bridge the gap enough until you get Jason Verrett up to speed, this team defense can stay at the level that it's been playing with Emmanuel Moseley as the cornerback. But it's all about finding the right guy in the right location. I'm curious who they end up going with at the cornerback position. If I had to make my pick right now, I would go with Emmanuel Lenoir. To me, Emmanuel Lenoir has looked the best. He's been the most confident. He's really good at tackling, which means you might catch the ball on him, but he's going to bring you down. Womack does a good job, but Emmanuel Lenoir is a better overall tackler than Samuel Womack. I think Womack moves into the nickel, and you roll with those two guys. I think it's a pretty good cornerback room already. I've already been comfortable with Womack. I'm comfortable with Lenore on the outside in this matchup. I don't think anyone's going to absolutely burn you. Zacchaeus has got a lot of talent. He can take the top off the defense. But if you get that matchup, you can always help your young corner with a safety over the top. You could always help by bringing a blitz, making them get rid of the football early. So there are going to be some matchup issues for the 49ers in certain situations if they need to protect Emmanuel Lenoir. If they feel like Lenoir can go out there and handle business, then it's not going to be a problem, and you're going to be able to run the defense the way you want. That was the part of Emmanuel Moseley playing that really made it easy for the 49ers, was Tarvarius Ward opened things up immensely because now there were opportunities for coverage sacks, but Emmanuel Moseley made it so you didn't have to have either one of those safeties over the top to help either side of the ball, and you could free run those guys wherever you wanted. That allowed Talanoa Hufanga to play good and play fast and play around the box. That allowed Tayshaun Gibson to do the things that he did and for them to have such great ratings. So having those players, every time you take one of those guys away, this next man up mentality, it does change your team a little bit. It doesn't have to be drastic, but it can be a little bit. All of a sudden, you're giving up one extra field goal a game, or you're giving up 3 extra first downs a game, and those things slowly play into it. So bridging the gap, playing good defense until Jason Verrett gets back all the way is so important for this 49ers team. But who do you think the 49ers are going to pick for this matchup? Are they going to bring in Emmanuel Lenoir? It's going to be Samuel Womack. Will it be Aubrey Thomas? He's finally going to get back out there after what happened last year. Will they go with number 27, Dante Johnson? They went Tevin Coleman at running back. Could they go Dante Johnson? I think it's going to be Emmanuel Lenoir, but I'm curious what you think. Thanks everyone for watching. If you have the opportunity to like the video, comment down below, subscribe. Always am very thankful for everything. If you're a channel, if you want to be a channel member, become a channel member. You get a free live stream every single month, the members only live stream. Check that out. Lots of cool stuff. And over on Patreon, lots of videos, including exclusive shows that are never seen here on YouTube. So go check those out as well. But thank you so much for watching this episode. Hopefully the 49ers get it done, that one of these corners is able to step up and make plays. John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan have drafted some really good ones. And now let's see if it pays dividends for this roster. But until next time, stay safe. And remember, the right way is always Niners way.